IDF. No, he's ex. I think he's ex Mossad. I'm pretty sure he's ex Mossad or ex IDF. One of the two.
What are we talking about? Wake up! This is the face of terror with the bomb that's being stopped. President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and it should be the entire Western world, has an opportunity to stop this before it happens.
I'm hearing him talk about monsters in charge of governments, the face of terror, nuclear weapons. Who are we talking about here, Iran or Israel? Which country in the Middle East attacked 6 countries in the Middle East last year? 6. It wasn't Iran, it was Israel.
You're in absolute denial, and so is Candace Owens, and so is Tucker Carlson.
I'm not here to speak for Tucker Carlson.
Guys, make sure you double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. Appreciate the support, guys.
Also, look, Candace Owens, who I've been very critical of. I'm not here to speak for Iran, who I've been very critical of. I'm here to talk about facts.
You're defending. You sound like Mehdi Khamenei.
Of course.
We just want
go for racist insults.
2014.
That's all you have left.
We murdered 300 terrorists last week, and I think those are your people.
Wow.
The people of Lebanon were supposed to be enjoying a badly needed break from the bombing. President Trump had announced a 2-week ceasefire. The US and the Pakistanis were clear initially that it included the Israeli war against Hezbollah. Instead, Israel launched a blitz. Hundreds were killed and thousands wounded by an IDF bombardment under the chilling codename Operation Eternal Darkness. The death toll in Lebanon is now more than 2,000, according to the health ministry. As I said on this show 3 weeks ago, all debate about whether Israel forced Trump to start the war will soon be a question of whether Israel is the barrier to ending it. While many Israelis believe the war is righteous and necessary, the damage to Israel's global standing could be devastating. Spain is openly calling Netanyahu a war criminal. This weekend, Turkey compared him to Hitler.
He is.
And record numbers.
Hell yeah, he is. Those 100 strikes that he carried out in southern Lebanon, bro, he hit mostly civilians. Like, bro, I'm talking about kids, women, civilians. Not, bro, he barely hit Hezbollah. Actually, bro took an entire, and I'm talking about Israel. Israel took an entire village in Lebanon off the map. Like, it is gone. Let me see here.
Now look unfavorably on Israel and the United States, where plenty of people think there's an increasing body of evidence that Netanyahu forced Trump into a disaster. Well, joining me to debate this is Mehdi Hasan, founder of Z News, and Doran Spielman, the reservist IDF spokesman and author of When the Stones Speak. Right, well, welcome to both of you. Doran Spielman, welcome back to Uncensored. The New York Times piece that came out several days ago painted a pretty extraordinary picture of the Prime Minister of Israel sitting in the Situation Room at the White House with the head of Mossad appearing on a large screen and painting a picture of what would happen if the United States joined Israel in taking out the supreme leader of Iran and his top people who are all going to be congregating. That inevitably what would happen is the IRGC, the sort of ruling regime underneath the supreme leader, would collapse. The people of Iran would rise up, and that nobody would care or notice the Strait of Hormuz. That would be an irrelevance to all this. And all that's happened is that, and a lot of people in the room on the American side thought this was fantasy land.
All right, I found it here. All right, guys, check this out here. So Al-Kamani, let me see, Al-Kamani, yeah, we're gonna say it like that, no longer exists. An entire Lebanese town gone in under a month of Israeli strikes, while ambassador meets in Washington to discuss a framework for peace. And Israel literally wants to annex southern Lebanon. They literally put that in the peace plan. They want a security buffer for like, what was it, at least like 20% of southern Lebanon. Then they want to claim the rest of southern Lebanon as Israeli territory. So Israel is literally annexing southern Lebanon as we speak, bro. This is crazy. And they're getting away with it. Nobody's really talking about it. But now, guys, like I said, this is literally an entire city, guys. And this is what happened when Israel got done with it. One. And Israel grimy because, bro, they'll even blow up the farms. Like, even the farms, I mean, they'll blow up anything. And it's the problem. I mean, this whole place, as you see, full of houses, full of, like, bro, streets, all this good stuff, a full network going on here. Then Israel comes through and goes. So yeah, these are why people are kind of fed up with the Israelis right now, because it's like they just can't stop. They just can't stop with the war. They got to go to war with somebody.
And all that's happened is the first part happened. The Ayatollah and his top people were taken out in a successful strike, but the IRGC remain in place. The people haven't risen up, and the Iranians have worked out the Strait of Hormuz can be used as an economic weapon to rival anything that people can do against them militarily and cause enormous global economic damage. Do you accept that the Americans were sold a pup here?
Piers, thank you for having me. I think actually, Piers, we're going to look back at this as a war that was as consequential as perhaps if the West had information in 1936 to act against Nazi Germany. We have to put this in perspective. Wars take time. Iran has had 40 years to embed. There's not been a single U.S. president, starting with Ronald Reagan.
Make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen, and let's even get to 100 likes, guys. Appreciate the support.
Who I greatly respect, going all the way through Clinton and Obama and Biden, who's been willing to pay the political capital to stop the Iranian terror regime, the largest regime in the world, from developing a nuclear weapon. And why? Because it requires a preemptive strike. You have to preemptively stop Iran. If you don't preemptively stop Iran from having a bomb.
Yo, that's wild. He said, look, man, pretty much you just got to be an aggressor. Even if Iran's not doing anything, you just got to strike Iran, because they're just going to have a nuke that, you know, we have no intelligence of them going for. And, oh, wait, we do. We have intelligence that they're not going for one. We have intelligence that they don't have a nuclear weapons program. So it's kind of crazy how he's saying, look, bro, you just got to, literally what he's saying, look, you just got to strike Iran. Why? Because, hey, man, that nuclear weapon that don't exist.
The alternative is you're only going to stop it when that bomb lands in your soil. And we don't want to have a 9/11 where instead of 2 passenger planes, we're dealing.
Here's the thing. Point me to the information. Point me to the CIA. I don't know, Mossad intel. Well, I ain't reading no Mossad intelligence, but point me to the CIA intelligence. Point me to the DNI intelligence that says Iran has a nuclear weapons program. Point me to that, and I'll concede the argument. Point me to anywhere that said Iran has the 90% enrichment. Point me to where you find that, and I'll concede the argument. But until then, you guys are going to war with Iran, honestly, for what? Honestly, in his eyes, to really just to stabilize the Middle East. But you're trying to frame it to the American people as if it's to stop them from getting a nuke, when it isn't. It is not at all. Actually, Trump completely moved the goalpost to Iran shouldn't have a nuclear bomb to now they can't even enrich. And I'm gonna be real with you, those are 2 different things. Having a bomb and enriching uranium, yeah, a bomb you can destroy stuff with. Enriching uranium, multiple uses. So it's kind of wild how we're just gonna sit here and let this guy lie to us as if we don't have intelligence already on the situation in Iran and how they don't have a nuclear program. They don't even have 90% enriched uranium to go towards a nuke. So what are we even talking about? Like, why are they fear mongering, telling you that, well, we didn't do this, so we didn't strike them and raise gas prices, raise inflation. If we didn't do that, guys, Iran was going to hit you with a nuke in 2 weeks, 2 years, maybe 40, I don't know, but eventually it was going to happen.
With an atomic weapon. And I think President Trump has been incredibly consistent from the very beginning. And here, obviously, he shares a value with Israel, which is that Iran cannot be a nuclear regime. It's very, very simple. You cannot have an Iranian terror regime that instead of blocking the Straits of Hormuz with ballistic missiles, they can block the Straits of Hormuz with a nuclear weapon. You can't have a regime that when they shoot at Israel, which we've had more than 6,000 of their weapons, both from Hezbollah and Iran, we've had over 1,000 over the last 12 months, any one of them loaded with a nuclear weapon. And we have to take a step back here. We see the face of the regime. They're an evil monster. They're hitting their own allies. How could we even conceive that we would not take the opportunity to eliminate this before it grows? And the shock, Piers, is that I have people like Mehdi, who's going to join us shortly, and people all over these kind of this liberal fantasy land that you can transplant what you hear in the Oxford corridors if you just act nice and you kind of reason with them. Well, maybe they want to bomb, but they're not really going to use it. It's only for civilian energy. What are we talking about? Wake up.
Bro, the reason why they even have 60% enrichment is because we got out the JCPOA. We designated the IRCG a terrorist group. We invoked the sanctions back on them. We killed a general. That's the only reason they're here, through U.S. aggression. Wake up. The only reason they're at a 60% enrichment is because of U.S. aggression. If we'd have never aggressed towards them, they would still be under the JCPOA with 3.6%. Wake up.
This is the face of terror with the bomb that's being stopped. And therefore, I think President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and it should be the entire Western world, has an opportunity to stop this before it happens. And I think, if anything, it's praiseworthy, Piers.
Okay, Mehdi Hasan, it's praiseworthy.
Well, it's not praiseworthy. The entire war has been a disaster. I think everyone agrees on that. Even the Israeli opposition agrees it's been a disaster, the way Netanyahu and Trump have handled it. I think any objective person can look at the state of this war, even if you are pro the US government, pro the Israeli government, and say it's been a success. But let's put that to one side. I want to take on board what Doran said across the board, because a lot of it was pure projection. I mean, I'm hearing him talk about monsters in charge of governments, the face of terror, nuclear weapons. Who are we talking about here, Iran or Israel? Because I would ask a few questions for your viewers to consider today as they listen to Doran. Which country in the Middle East has nuclear weapons? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East has not signed the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East is defying a UN Security Council resolution calling for that country to open up its nuclear facilities to IAEA inspectors? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East attacked 6 countries?
Like I said, it is funny how Israel's being pressing, like, oh, they're about to make nukes, and nobody knows about, and they want to be secret about it. Israel, like, bro, Israel has a secret nuclear program. Like, it's like a running joke in the global community. It's like, look, man, Israel got nukes. We all know they got nukes, but on paper, they don't got nukes. Why? Because we'd have to withdraw all of our funding from them because, well, they're a nuclear rogue state, honestly. They're not in the non-proliferation treaty. They didn't want to sign it. So, yeah, Israel's pretty much casting judgment on Iran for exactly what they're doing. They don't allow inspections of their nukes. I mean, look, if Iran turned around and told us, well, look, we'll allow inspection of our stockpile if you tell Israel to, I don't know, give up their nukes or allow inspection of their stockpile. We start losing our shit. But fair is fair. I'm be real with you. Israel's allowed to have nukes. Actually, they got the nukes behind our back. I mean, let's be real here, guys. It is kind of crazy that we're crying about nuclear enrichment of Iran, and they don't even got a nuke. They don't even got 90% enrichment. They don't have a nuclear bomb, but we got Israel here with illegal nuclear bombs that everybody, you know, got to claim ambiguity about. Wild.
The Middle East last year, 6. It wasn't Iran, it was Israel. So Iran, for all its many sins and crimes, is not the rogue nuclear state in the Middle East right now. That country is Israel. As you said, Piers, in your introduction, global public opinion has made it very clear that they see Israel as the threat to regional and international peace right now. You pointed out, Piers, that it's Benjamin Netanyahu dragging American Republican presidents into wars of choice, Iraq in 2002-3, and now Iran in 2025, 2026.
Yeah, I mean, Doran Spellman, the flaw in your argument is just a bunch of woolly liberals who didn't want this to happen. Literally. If you look at actually the reaction.
Sadly, that's the only real argument we're getting from the right. It's not a real coherent argument. It's not an argument against, oh, is Iran an imminent threat or not? No, the argument is, oh, stop being such a soft liberal. What are you, a lefty? And it's like, no, dude, the problem is you don't have a good argument for this. So now you're resorting to name calling. And that's all MAGA's been doing when it came to this Iran war. They don't have a good argument. They can't even substantiate themselves on what the goal of this war is. They know none of the goals and if they can, they know none of the goals of the war has been reached. So they fall into this defensive position of calling you an American. What are you, a lefty? And you could be somebody who's conservative and they'll do this to you because, well, they're a bit insecure about their position in this war. Because I'm be real with you. They got eyes, but they're in denial. Pray for my fellow MAGA brethren. Don't worry, they'll wake up. They'll wake up eventually. I woke up, so don't worry, they'll wake up. Well, I've been woke to the anti-war position. That's why I voted for Trump, because he said he wasn't going to do this bullshit, but it is what it is.
from American conservatives. You know, you got Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones. You've got Trump supporters like Joe Rogan, Theo Von, and others, the big podcasters who helped get him elected. There's a massive cross-section of very influential people, many of whom are conservative Trump supporters historically, who have condemned this war and want nothing to do with it. So I don't think you can just bat it away as, oh, it's just a bunch of, you know, liberals throwing their toys out of the pram. It's not.
You know, I love the word projection because projection is used by people who don't live in the real world, because the alternative to a projection when it comes to a nuclear weapon, when is that?
Nah, somebody said it right in the chat, though, when they said, look, man, we don't hate the people of Israel. We just hate the government that's running this war, or that's running all these military operations throughout the Middle East. Sadly, Israel has always had a very shady government. I'll just be real with you. Because, you know, Israel, well, is the only country in the Middle East that's expanded their borders. Yes, literally expanded their borders into other countries. They've attacked like, 6 different nations or 6 different countries in less than 2 years. So this is the problem here. We don't blame the Israeli people. We blame the government. And trust me, there's people in Israel that's getting sick and tired of this war shit. But sadly, I mean, there's a good amount of people who actually support the war efforts in Israel. I mean, it is what it is, guys. Hey, man, look, some of them actually truly believe they're the chosen people, and some of them believe that, look, man, it ain't even that serious. No need to try to take over the entire Middle East. You know, there's different sects of Judaism and all that good stuff. And, you know, not all Jewish people think the same. I'd hope we'd understand this, but, hey, some people think all Muslims are the same. So sometimes you got to explain it.
Projection end, Mehdi? Does it end when Iran is trying to develop enriched uranium, and already back before the JCPOA had already developed 6 times, and now they've developed almost 90% of enriched uranium, which is 20 times the amount you need for an atomic weapon? Is that?
Where is it? Please prove it. Prove where Iran has 90% enriched uranium, because y'all just be talking out y'all ass. That's what be killing me about these guys. They'll say one thing, and then we'll go out there to go prove them wrong. We're vindicated. We come back to them, and they're just like, "What are you, an Iranian supporter?" It's like, bro, prove it, because no intelligence has came out that they have 9% enrichment, bro. We don't even know where their enriched uranium is at right now. You know that, right? We don't even know where the enriched uranium that we want so bad that we want them to give up is at. So what makes you think we even know if they're at 90% enrichment or not? Like, let's be honest here. This sounds like dumb at a certain point, but it is what it is.
For civil uses, is that still a projection, or is it when they actually press that little button and it lands in the U.S.?
Well, let me ask you. Well, let me before.
Hold on, Piers.
Well, hang on. On that point, on that point, given you said
projection that 22 civilians have been killed
but let me
from
ask
ballistic missiles, and we've had 600 warheads on Israel. We've had warheads land on the UAE.
2,000 people in Lebanon and 3,000 people in Iran.
And regarding, you know, this is so funny. Regarding Iran, you know, you put them on the court bench. You call in someone for a character reference, comparing Iran to Israel.
Just to go ahead and prove it to, I don't know why you could easily look this up, but let's go to can.org, guys, because shout out to these guys at can.org. So let's see here. Which countries have nuclear weapons? Russia, France, India, United States, United Kingdom, Israel, China, Pakistan, and North Korea. So yeah, everybody knows Israel got nukes, my man. It's not that hard to figure out. It's like, come on now. I mean, bro, I knew they had. See, I knew the numbers were 90. I knew that. See, I wasn't too far off. So I'm sorry, bro, but y'all ain't doing enough research. If you didn't know Israel got nukes, that's like geopolitics 101, bro. All right, welcome to geopolitics 101. Israel got nukes. Lesson 1: Israel got nukes. We just gonna take it from there. All right, that's what they should have taught you in geopolitics 101. Israel got nukes. Now we're just going to take it from there. I'm just playing, of course. But as you see, though, yes. these countries do have nukes. And, you know, like I said, Israel got nukes. And it's crazy that some people don't know that, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Now, if I can remember here. And just to let you know where this comes from, ICANN is an international campaign to segmentize and prohibit and eliminate nuclear weapons. The international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. Yeah, .org. So yes, we know who got nuclear weapons. It's obvious that Israel got nuclear weapons, but for some reason, some of y'all don't know this. Well, now you know. Now you know. I know, right? Somebody said, prove to me that Israel got nuclear weapons. I'm like, bro, really?
Well, who's Iran? Well, they've developed a global terror regime that stretches from the Middle East through Latin America into Europe. They have the Houthis who've stopped shipping and have fired missiles and weapons both at Israel and U.S. assets. They created Hezbollah, the world's largest terror organization. That is also one of the largest drug organizations.
You created Hezbollah by illegally invading Lebanon.
Who committed October 7th. They just killed 30,000 of their people in the streets for protesting. I mean, do we need such a projection? I mean, only an idiot would actually say we need a projection to understand what Iran's intent is. We don't even need to try. They keep shoving it in your face, Mehdi. You're an absolute denial, and so is Candace Owens, and so is Tucker Carlson, and President Trump. Thank
well, I'm not.
God,
I'm not here to speak for. I'm not here to speak for. Hold on. Let me respond. You said a lot there. I'm not here to speak for Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, who I've been very critical of. I'm not here to speak for Iran, who I've been very critical of. I'm here to talk about facts.
All right, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen. If you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, or you just want to support the show, you can go ahead and super chat in $2 and up.
You say projection. Let's just deal with your little speech in two ways. Number one, even if I were to accept your premise that Iran's nuclear program was a threat, even though the IEA and US intelligence say it wasn't, but let's accept your premise that it was a threat. This is not the way you stop a nuclear program. We had the JCPOA, which Israel opposed, Donald Trump opposed. Iran was enriching at 3.67%, had no pathway to a bomb under the JCPOA, as every major disarmament and nuclear expert said at the time. It was Israel, Netanyahu, Trump that opposed this, and now we have them at 60% enriched uranium because of the actions of Israel and Donald Trump.
Yeah, there was a Zionist push for Trump to get out of the JCPOA. I mean, that's why you had Mark Levin literally was so gleeful when Trump got out of the JCPOA. He kept the pen. Mark Levin kept the pen that Trump signed to get out of the JCPOA. That's how excited he was, because he knew that was going to lead us on a path to war with Iran. I mean, bro, every Zionist pushed for Trump to get out of the JCPOA. That should tell you something.
So if you claim to want to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon, you've done a very bad job of doing that. In fact, if you're the Iranian leadership now, you probably want a bomb more now than ever before, because you've been attacked by Israel 2 years running. That's one point. On the point about projection, the point I'm making is this, Doran, and you dodged it, so let me ask it again. The only country in the Middle East right now that can put its finger on a button and fire a nuke is Israel. The only country threatening to fire the nuke it has, Ben-Gvir smiled and nodded the other day when an Israeli journalist suggested nuking Iran, is Israel. Why is your country, Doran, you're a spokesman for the military, in violation of UN Resolution 487, which was unanimously passed, including by the Reagan administration in 1981, calling for Israel to open up its nuclear facilities to the IAEA? Why wouldn't you allow IAEA inspectors to look at your illicit secret nuclear weapons program?
First of all, I think you and I both know that there are no binding United Nations resolutions against Israel. Not in any sphere.
UN Security Council Resolution 487.
There's not a single
You're wrong, Doran.
You're wrong, Doran. UN resolution.
You're wrong.
And there is a number of.
You're lying. Everyone can Google it right now. UN Security Council Resolution 487. People can Google it.
Mehdi, you just said it yourself.
You can talk over me.
Basically, just
UN Security Council Resolution 487.
Mehdi, one second. We can't
talk over me. I'll wait and make my point again. Well, let me just make one point, and then I'll let you speak indefinitely. UN Resolution 487. You can Google it right now. People can watch it at home. In 1981, the Reagan administration voted for it. It calls on Israel to urgently open up its facilities to IAEA controls. That is a UN Security Council resolution, which is binding under international law. Israel has been in violation of it.
Them and Iraq. Yeah, them and Iraq was both told to, sign the treaty, open up their doors to inspections. Iraq actually said okay, and Israel said no. Huh.
For 45 years. Why are you in violation of it? And do you accept that Israel has nuclear weapons? If you won't accept that, why should we take anything you say seriously on anything else?
It is not a binding resolution. However, I want to get your point because I think you just answered it for me. You said that this has been Israel, according to you, has been in violation for 40 years. So therefore, you're assuming Israel's had a nuclear weapon for 40 years. Can you tell me one time, Mehdi?
It has.
One single time.
Are you denying
Israel
that?
has threatened another country with
Doran,
nuclear war? Can you tell me, Mehdi, one time when
one time Israel threatened a country with nuclear weapons? You ever heard of the Yom Kippur War, where Israel literally threatened to nuke, what was it, Egypt? It was Egypt and Lebanon if we didn't help them out in that war. So yes, Israel has threatened to nuke other countries.
Israeli prime minister under an entire command center would have the ability with massive controls. Just one second.
I answered your question.
That is referred to another country. Hold on, Mehdi. Another country, as you and I both know, that Iran, who you have projections about, the supreme leader, right, Ali Khamenei, which I'm very curious why you defend him and his entire regime.
But let me go ahead and read this out for you guys real quick. So during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, amid severe conventional military setbacks, Israeli leaders, including, here's Mehdi Dayan, reportedly considered or prepared nuclear options, often referred to as the Samson option. While some reports allege Israel prepared 13 nuclear weapons, expert argued this way. All right, let me get back into that. Sorry, something came up. But expert argued this way was likely to a defensive alert or a signal to force the U.S. to initiate a vital arms airlift rather than a direct threat to use them. So pretty much Israel was like, look, if you don't help us out, and we're getting our ass kicked right here. If you don't help us out, bro, we're going to start nuking people. Like straight up wiping these Arabs right off the effing map. And if you don't help us, we're going to bomb 2 of these guys and we're going to wipe them off the map. Now, America, if you want to avoid this, all you got to do is just give me the airlift. Go ahead and bring in that airlift so we can go ahead and protect ourselves and it's all good. But if not, then, things are going to get real tragic in the Middle East. And we capitulated and we gave them the airlift. So yes, they were threatening to use to bomb other countries if we didn't help them. AKA, we basically saved 2 countries that day.
Ali Khamenei refers to Israel.
But then we also bent the knee to Israel at the same time.
As the little Satan. And we both know how he refers to the United States, meaning this spiritual leader. You've called him a spiritual leader.
Doran, you're not. Let me jump in here. Doran, let me jump in. Let me jump in, please.
Calls America the great Satan.
Let me jump in,
and you want to give him a nuclear weapon?
Stop
Israel
talking.
and the US are fighting together against
please
terror
stop
regimes.
talking. I am here. I am here. And I am moderating this panel, much as you both like to just get off without me. Mehdi raises the point I have raised with a number of pro-Israeli guests in the last few weeks. Why is it that Israel does not admit it has nuclear weapons? And are you prepared to do so now?
Guys, I'm a millennial, right? Like, that's gonna be the funniest thing. People be thinking I'm Gen Z, Gen X or whatever. Well, people actually assume that I'm Gen Z. And I'm like, no. I'm a millennial, guys. Shout out to my millennials in the chat.
Israel, as we all know, is a state that upon its very founding faced an existential threat from 7 countries that attacked it.
You attacked all of those countries, though. Bro, of course you've been terrorizing the Palestinians. Then you popped off with the Lebanese. What was it, in the 60s? You got into it with Jordan. You've got into it with Syria. All right, well, proxy. You got through it through proxy in Iraq. So I'm sorry, but y'all have low key committed every almost constant acts of aggressions. Sorry guys, acts of aggression against your neighbors, and we're supposed to sit here and feel sorry for you guys. Like somebody even said in the chat, well, you know, Israel's surrounded by countries that want to destroy them. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? You think it's just because that they're Jewish? You think it's because that they're Israelis? You'd be dumb to think that. No, it's because Israel's been a constant aggressor in that region. That's why a lot of these countries want to wipe Israel off the map. And I don't agree with them. I don't agree with wanting Israel to be wiped off the map. But what I do agree with is that, yo, you guys are causing so much problems in the Middle East where they have a hostile attitude towards you guys. Like, do you not understand this? And they don't care. They really don't care. They love the hostile attitude, but then they'll complain about it at the same time.
Oh, no, that in 1967, Israel was attacked by 3 countries, followed by 1973, followed by the Gulf War in 1981, followed by Hezbollah and Hamas. There's probably not been another country on earth.
What's this got to do with you being transparent about having nuclear weapons?
According to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which Israel has not signed and therefore is not bound by, Israel, if it maintains a nuclear arsenal, it has not used it, and if it maintains it, it is because it
why are you saying if? You know the answer.
Hold on. And
so why can't Iran have a nuke because it faces existential threat from Israel? You know, seeing that you guys attacked them first twice. So if Israel's allowed to have that position of having nukes because, you know, everybody's around them is such an existential threat, well, Iran's allowed to have nukes because you guys are an existential threat and you guys attacked them twice unprovoked. Actually, Lebanon's also allowed to have nukes because you guys attacked them, but y'all been attacking them unprovoked since the goddamn 60s. So I'm gonna be real with you. It sounds like we need to start handing nukes out throughout the Middle East because everybody's an existential threat that we need to be protected from, or that they need to protect themselves from.
And since the Holocaust, which today is International Holocaust Day in Israel, it's Israeli Holocaust Day, and we are mourning tonight 6 million Jews that have died. Israel maintains the ability never to rely on anyone else. And therefore, Israel is not bound by the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty. It didn't sign on. Who is bound? The United States is bound, and it has followed it.
Yeah, but how can you demand?
Iran,
how can you demand?
Pierce, Iran,
I answered you. You're not answering my question.
Because of an existential threat.
The thing is, like I said, I would just want to flip his argument around on him. I'm like, all right, so you got nukes because you're surrounded by enemies and you think these guys are an existential threat. Well, guess what? You've proved to be a imminent threat because you attacked Iran first twice. So, I mean, by your logic, they should be able to have nukes. By your logic.
I just want to say Iran has signed it and violated it.
Doran,
from already from 2002.
How can you, with a straight face, defend Israel's determination for full transparency by another country over its nuclear weapon ambitions when you have so far steadfastly ducked my very simple question as to whether Israel has its own nuclear weapons? And
I have not ducked.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys, and let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Let's try to get to 100 likes. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, you can go ahead and Venmo it in, super chat it in, or you can send a Rumble rant, depending on where you're watching from. Appreciate the support, guys. But like I said, let's not forget to double tap that screen. All right, let's get back to it. And like I said, super chat in any question or comments.
Your question, do you have them or not? Pierce, and I explained to you that while I do not have firsthand knowledge of Israel's nuclear facilities, like you, I've heard the foreign reports.
You don't know. You don't know.
Hold on. I'm answering.
Pierce, as a reservist IDF spokesman, you don't know if Israel's nukes.
I would assume it is highly likely. As
I'm sorry, but like, come on now. You know Israel got nukes. Like, really? Are you really gonna let this guy play dumb in y'all face? He knows Israel got nukes. We all know Israel got nukes, about 90 of them. I mean, look, if the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons knows that they got nukes, come on now. We all know Israel got nukes. There's more references I can go to that proves to you that Israel got nukes. But these are just the best ones because it's like they're literally life mission to go out there and make sure that they dismantle all the nukes in the world. So if that's your mission, then wouldn't you want to keep track of all of them? Of course you would. So shout out to those guys.
Do you that Israel has a nuclear program? Israel never signed the NPT. And the reason Israel never signed the NPT, I would assume, even though I wasn't in the room, is because Israel maintains its individual right to defend itself. To compare that now to Iran. and a potential nuclear program in a regime that is the world's #1 global terrorism, or they are not just terrorism, they engineered the idea of terrorism.
Hey, yo, now you lying. Now you big lying. Bro, hold on now. I wonder if I'll get canceled. No, F it, I'm just going to say it. Bro, the father of terrorism was Israel's first president. Father of terrorism. What was it? The King David Hotel bombing? Let me see here. King David Hotel bombing. Because that is crazy. Because the guy who did that bombing is the father of terrorism. It was done by a white ring Zionist like terrorist organization. And guess what? This guy became the first prime minister of Israel. So when this man literally says, oh, they invented terrorism. No, bro, y'all did. Yeah, actually, the creation of Israel was structured through terrorism. Actually, the IDF was formed off 3 different terrorist groups that were all Israeli or Jewish. So I'm sorry, but that is wild. Bro said, you guys are where terrorists came from. No, my friend. No. You. Yeah, let's talk about it. King David Hotel bombing was an attack carried out on July 22nd, 1946. Yeah, okay, well, two years before, the establishment of Israel. And this was this guy's mission. They was committing these terrorist attacks, and these were Zionist terrorist attacks for the sake of Israel, or the creation of Israel, by the Ungun, a militant Zionist paramilitary group. And what is all of Israel? Country full of Zionists, targeting the southern wing of the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, which then served as headquarters for the British mandatory authorities. It remains one of the deadliest attacks of insurgency during the British Mandate for Palestine. Yeah. And like I said, this guy here, the guy, Meklamij, what's his name? Mechahem Began. You know what? I'm going to make sure I get the pronunciation on that, but let me go ahead and bring it up right here. This guy right here. Right? This guy right here pretty much led a terrorist attack on the King David Hotel, and he became a future prime minister of Israel. Shout out that guy, right? I mean, you go out there, you do a little terrorism, then you get to run a country, bro. It's kind of dope. I don't know too many people that did that. Right. All right, then let's get back to it, Piers. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
They represent terror that has killed 241 American Marines. They have killed 85 Jews in Buenos Aires. They have killed thousands of U.S. soldiers with roadside bombs. They have carried out.
Y'all just got done killing Christians in Lebanon. I mean, who are y'all to judge at this point? And bro, hold on. What was it? The Beirut bombing, the military with the Marines? Yeah, Mossad knew about that. They knew about that bombing, and y'all let it happen. So I'm sorry, but how are y'all our allies again, bro? Like, it's so crazy when you actually look through Israel's history with the United States, and you just look at them like, how are we allies again? Because it seems like a bit of extortion.
According to MI5, mass casualty attempts in England since 2022. They just killed 40,000 of the protesters. Israel has a protest about cottage cheese. Israel's protests every day. How can you compare the idea that Israel would have a nuclear weapon and Iran, the potential of Hitler?
Let Mehdi respond.
I noticed that Doron said that Iran killed 30,000 of its people a few minutes ago. Now he's saying 40,000. By the end of this discussion, it'll be 100,000. It's funny how they inflate the numbers of people killed in Iran, but never recognize the 100,000 people you killed in Gaza, that your military killed in Gaza. 100,000 people minimum killed in Palestine, which are actually verified numbers by international organizations like the Lancet Medical Journal. You deny those. But let's put that to one side.
See, thank you, Mehdi. I'm going to have to give him that. I don't even like Mehdi at all, but I'll give him that. That was actually a really good argument. It's like the reason why we don't believe the 30,000 dead protesters that you guys want to inflate the numbers on is because, one, there's no names. No names, no nothing. And I'm sorry, but the same people who want to float the 30K dead protesters are the same people that we were showing the Gaza Health Ministry, the names, birth dates, all that good stuff of the women and children that died in Gaza. Y'all sat there and said that's Hamas propaganda. And then it was proven true. Y'all didn't want to walk nothing back. So now y'all want to come to us with 30,000 or 40,000 or 45,000 dead protesters that you don't got no names for, no birthdays, no body, no nothing. But when we showed you guys names, birth dates, bodies, y'all said we were lying. Y'all said we were Hamas. Really? I can't believe these guys sometimes.
Deal with some of the stuff you've been saying. Number one, just some fact checks. UN Security Council.
Bro, I can give you fake unprovable numbers, but when you give me real provable numbers, I'm going to call them fake and unprovable. Why?
The resolution is binding under international law. The Reagan administration voted for it, and you've never followed it. You proudly say you haven't signed the NPT. People watching at home will laugh their heads off. You're basically saying, because we didn't sign an international treaty, we don't have to follow international law. So then why doesn't Iran just pull out of the NPT? Why doesn't everyone just pull out of the NPT and do what Israel did? You say Israel reserves the right to defend itself. That old chestnut. No other country in the Middle East is allowed to defend itself. Israel is the country that bombed, count them, 6 countries in the Middle East last year. I can't think of a single country on planet Earth, aside from the US and Israel, that bombed half a dozen countries in the calendar year 2025. That is your country that you're defending, a rogue nation that bombs whoever it sees fit and then claims to be a victim. You say that, for example, you mentioned in your comments, you said 1967 we were attacked. Complete flat falsehood. Israel attacked first in 1967. Everyone knows that. It's a documented fact. You can call it a preemptive war, but you can't just lie on here and say...
I mean, bro, they started with everybody. They started a war with Egypt. They attacked them first. They attacked Lebanon first. I mean, shoot. Even when it comes to the conflict with the Palestinians, they aggressed on them first. They kicked them out of their homeland. So I'm sorry, but all this hate that Israel has in the Middle East, they brought upon themselves. And that's what nobody wants to talk about. The fact that due to the bullshit Israel has done in the Middle East throughout the past 50 to 60 years, maybe even more, this is the reason why all these Arab countries don't like them. Because they've caused nothing but mayhem and turmoil in their countries. I mean, that's just a fact. I'm sorry, but Israel's not the nicest neighbor to be next to in the Middle East.
You were attacked. You were not. You said that Iran pioneered the use of terrorism in the Middle East. Actually, that was the Zionist gangs. That was the Stern Gang and the Irgun who blew up British diplomats, bombed the King David Hotel, hung British sergeants, attacked British civilians and military and Arabs. It was actually Jewish and Zionist terror gangs that pioneered terrorism in the Middle East 100 years ago. So a lot of your facts are just completely wrong. And you're dodging Piers' central point, which is that you do have nukes. You know you have nukes. You're not allowed to say you have nukes, which makes this whole conversation so absurd. But the idea that you would come on TV and go after someone else's civil nuclear program. Remember, the US says Iran did not have a weapons program, while you yourself have weapons. That's the US intelligence community's view. They said last year. That is what the US said last year. The US annual.
Then why do we need
let me read out the quote to you.
Program that you support.
Let me read out the quote to you. Let me read out the quote to you. If you stop interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you, Doran. You spoke for a while. In 2025, this is what the Director of National Intelligence said. We continue to assess Iran is not building a nuclear weapon and that Khamenei has not reauthorized the nuclear weapons program he suspended in 2003. A country that doesn't have nukes is being lectured by you, a country that does have nukes. It would be funny if it wasn't so tragic and you hadn't killed so many Iranian kids as part of your supposedly disarmament program.
Let me ask you, Doran, let me ask you a question.
Respond?
Doran, let me. You can respond.
Can I respond?
You can respond, but let me ask you. Let me ask you another question.
Like Israel wasn't attacked in '67. That Israel is basically just.
I mean, bro, you attack them and then they attack you back. So I mean, if that's your, I mean, if you want to go by that, then sure. But no, they did not attack y'all first. You attack them.
You launched the '67 war. That's a fact.
MEDI, what MEDI does is he tells a fantasy story.
It's historical fact.
Israel woke up one morning 2 years ago and said, you know what? We're a country of 9 million people. Let's go attack 6 countries throughout the Middle East.
Not 2 years ago, Doran.
Not
2 years ago.
Because we just
78 years ago, you've been bombing your neighbors.
By the way,
so 78 years you've been bombing your neighbors from the very beginning.
For a very, very, very long time. If
you interrupted me, Doran.
I assume that you want to hear my answer. That's why we're here. October 8th.
You interrupted me when I was trying to read out the threat assessment, remember.
October 8th, there was also a war. That war began when Hezbollah saw Israel weakened on October 7th and launched a campaign of 6,000 rockets at Israel. And then Israel responded. Iran fired 500 ballistic missiles, which has been attacking Israel consistently. And Israel decided back then with the United States that it is time to deal with the #1 terror regime in the entire world. And what I hear from you, Mehdi, is you make an incredibly compelling case, diverting the conversation away from stopping Iran's nuclear power by hyper-focusing on the Israeli democracy that you yourself admit has had nuclear weapons for 40 years and never used them. And you were essentially getting a get-out-of-jail-free card for Iran. Mehdi, are you willing, if there's a possibility in your projection, if you projected that Iran would have a nuclear weapon, would you be concerned?
All right, well, I want to ask a question.